What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the Laughing Man Network's Fantasycast. We're getting into week 6. Today we're going to run over injuries, stop, drop, and roll, and waivers. We're going to have a quick episode this week because next episode we're going to run a two-parter. We're bringing in Portman from the Dynasty Rewind channel. Shout out to them. He's going to come on. He's going to help us talk sits and starts, buy low, sell high. So tune in for that. So before we get started, go ahead, hit that like, hit that subscribe, help us out. Tune in. We're going to have some guests lined up to come on the show. So just stay tuned. So first segment, we're looking at injuries. We got a slew of injuries this week. One of those bad weeks for a lot of your flex positions, most likely. You have James Conner. He got a rib injury. Not sure the extent of it, but he was also banged up coming into the game. Alvin Kamara had a rib injury, and he missed a few weeks. So it's possible that James Conner might be out for a couple of weeks. So prepare for that. It looks like Benjamin's going to be the replacement there. Darrell Williams, we thought he was going to back up James Conner, but he also got a knee injury in this game. No telling the timetable or the severity of that injury. But if you're going to own anybody in that backfield right now, it looks like it's going to be Benjamin. Baker Mayfield, he's in a boot. Looks like he hurt his ankle. He's expected to miss a few weeks, so expect P.J. Walker to take over. Maybe Sam Darnold if Sam Darnold gets healthy. But it looks like the Baker Mayfield era is coming to a close already. T. Higgins, he hobbled off the field Sunday night, didn't come back. Looks to be an ankle injury. I think he's day-to-day. He may be looking at missing a week, missing 2 weeks. Look for Tyler Boyd to fill the void on targets in that offense. Dalton Schultz, he tweaked his knee. It looks like he's going to give it a go again this week. I'm not sure if you're starting him anyway, not until Dak comes back. Christian Watson got a hamstring injury. This guy just can't get going. He was hurt coming into the season. Couldn't get his chemistry going with Aaron Rodgers. And now he's got the hamstring injury. So we can go ahead and move on from Christian Watson. Teddy Bridgewater, sad to see. Teddy Bridgewater got a concussion the week after Tua got a concussion. Sad for Teddy B. I'm not sure if he's going to get another chance to start or not. I think they were looking at trying to get Tua in, but I think he may miss another week. So tune in and see what happens with Teddy Bridgewater. You might want to just sit him anyway. Tyreek Hill, he left the game, didn't come back in the fourth quarter with a foot injury. Not sure the timetable on there. Just keep an eye out on that. He does seem to get little nagging injuries from time to time. He plays through a lot of them. So keep an eye on Tyreek. Damian Harris got a hamstring injury. I thought he was going to be a big play against Detroit. Ramondre Stevenson looks like he's going to take over for a little while. These hamstring injuries seem to nag. You may look Damian Harris missing a game or two and then maybe not coming back to full snap share for a few weeks. Chris Olave, he got a concussion. Keep an eye out on that. No telling when he's coming back, if he's going to come back this week or miss a week. But he's been getting a lot of targets, and it's going to be a hard hit to anybody's roster. Pat Freiermuth got a concussion also. Keep an eye out on it. He might miss a week. Gentry looks like he would be the fill-in there. Rashad Penny, sad to see. I said last week I thought you should sell high on him. No telling when that injury is going to happen. It's sad to see it's going to be an injury this serious. It looks like he broke his tibia. He's definitely done for the year. I expect Kenneth Walker to start for the Seattle Seahawks moving forward. DJ Dallas may get a few carries, but it looks like Penny's going to be done. All right, time for the weekly segment of Stop, Drop, and Roll. These are guys you should stop rostering, drop or trade off your roster, and roll the back into your roster, get some new blood onto your team. Greg Dortch, he's now under 36% of snaps. Rondale Moore's back. Rondale Moore has taken over that position. He's gotten 1 point in the past 2 weeks. Just go ahead and drop Dortch. There's no sense in keeping him. A.J. Green's going to get healthy. DeAndre Hopkins is going to be coming back from suspension. Unless there's some injuries to that team, Greg Dortch is droppable at this point. Allen Robinson, I said it. I've done it. Drop Allen Robinson. Trade him. Throw him in on something. He's getting 6 points per game. Bottom of the league in separation. I'm done with Allen Robinson. I was a truther before. I wanted him at the beginning of the season. Go ahead and move off Allen Robinson. Gesicki, I've said this a few weeks in a row. Go ahead and get rid of Gesicki. He's still 50% owned. He's only getting 2 targets a game. Just move on from him. Durham Smythe is playing more snaps. Just no more Gesicki. Christian Watson. I had high hopes for Christian Watson coming into the year. He wasn't healthy coming in, and now he's got a hamstring injury. He's 30% owned. I think you can go ahead and drop him. It's going to take a while for him to get this chemistry if he can't stay on the field. And these hamstring injuries that the players get mid-season, they tend to linger. So go ahead and move on from Christian Watson. You can get somebody else on your roster. Alberto. Let's move on from Alberto. He's 20%, 35% owned. He's playing 20% of snaps now. We all wanted Alberto to do well beginning of the year, but it's just not working out. They need to find some consistency at tight end, and he just wasn't doing it for him. Too many drops. Wasn't getting open. Just, it's over. Mark Ingram, he's still 43% owned. I don't understand why. Alvin Kamara's back. He's healthy. And even when Alvin Kamara was out, Mark Ingram was not producing for you. He doesn't have the juice anymore. Let's move on from Mark Ingram. He should not be 43% owned. Robert Woods, 77% owned. He's got 17 receptions through 5 games. That's not going to get it done. He's getting 8.5 points per game, but that offense, it's not going. Treylon Burks is going to be out for a few weeks. Robert Woods is going to see top coverage. I don't think he has the juice anymore. He may get over-targeted in some games, may put on a decent game. See if you can throw him in on a trade, make a trade look juicier. Say, here, take Robert Woods and pick somebody up off of waivers and hope for the best with them. I don't think you're going to get that upside with Woods anymore. Chase Edmonds, 85% owned. He's playing 35% of snaps or less. He got 3 opportunities in week 5. He was barely on the field. They're starting to play Gaskin. Mostert got 19 touches. I wanted Chase Edmonds to be a thing. I thought you should go get him in the early weeks. It's not a thing. They may be lighting a fire under him, trying to build Gaskin up for a trade. But I don't know if they believe in Edmonds anymore. They may try to trade Edmonds. Who knows? But you can move on from Edmonds, throw him in a trade, try to move up, try to go get something a little more useful for your roster. So next up, we're going to get into waivers for the week. These are going to be guys that you should go try and pick up to fill in your flex or for your injuries. We're going to start off with quarterback, Geno Smith. If your league hasn't already started rostering Geno Smith, he's only owned in 40% of leagues. Go get him, play him in your super flex. In the past 3 weeks, he's gotten about 20 points, 30 points, 33 points. That's elite quarterback production. He's one of the top quarterbacks right now. He's playing smart. He's got good wide receivers. They don't have a great defense, so they're going to be playing in games where they're going to have to throw the ball. So go ahead and get Geno, play him in your super flex. If he's available, go spend on him. You know, if you need that quarterback help, go get Geno. Running backs. We said James Conner is banged up. He's got a couple injuries he's dealing with. One is a rib injury. He may miss a few weeks. Go get Eno Benjamin. He's 16% owned. He had 12 touches this past week in relief for James Conner and Darrell Williams. Expect that to go up. He had a good preseason, had a lot of hype around him. He's been productive when he touches the ball. So go get him now. Spend, 10%, 12% or so on him, 15 if you really need a running back, or if you own James Conner, go get Eno Benjamin now. Deion Jackson, Nyheim Hines had a bad concussion last week. Jonathan Taylor is banged up. Deion Jackson came in. He's only 5% owned. He had 17 touches, 13 points. He had a pretty decent game. They also played Phillip Lindsay, but I think Deion Jackson is going to be the direct backup to Jonathan Taylor. So if something happens to Jonathan Taylor, you can expect Deion Jackson to fill in all right with him. He's got top-end speed. He's not as big. He's not as powerful as Jonathan Taylor, but he can get the job done. So go get Deion Jackson if you don't want to spend much and you want that safety net if you have Jonathan Taylor. Kenneth Walker. He's 59% owned at the time of recording this. I know leagues are going to be picking him up, but Rashad Penny's out. Kenneth Walker was the second running back drafted in the rookie draft this year. He's really good. He's healthy now. Expect him to start getting a lot more touches. This past week, he had 8 carries, 88 yards, and a touchdown. Expect that to continue. He's getting used in the passing game. He was averaging about 2.5 targets a game. So if he happens to not be owned, go spend everything you got, or maybe not everything you got, on Kenneth Walker, but go spend 40%, 45% or so. You have a starting top caliber running back on the horizon with Kenneth Walker. Jaylen Warren, if you don't want to spend too much, he outsnapped Najee Harris this weekend, but it was a blowout. He's 13% owned. He had 10 opportunities. He scored 10 points. That's pretty good. I think Najee Harris is going to get better as the season goes on. I think they're going to find more ways to get him the ball in open space through the passing game. So if you want 2, 3, 4% on Jaylen Warren, just in case, if you have Najee especially, I'm okay with going to pick him up. Super deep leagues. We're talking 14, 16 team leagues here. Just keep an eye on, if you don't want to spend anything or if you have a deep, deep bench in those leagues, look at Gary Brightwell. I think Gary Brightwell is going to be the direct backup to Saquon Barkley if something were to happen. Saquon Barkley has started off really well, but he does have that history of just being unlucky. So just like you handcuff any other running back, last year Devontae Booker was a consistent running back too. Some weeks he had running back 1 production. So I think if Saquon were to go down, Gary Brightwell would have an increased role. I don't think Breida's role is really going to change then. And I think Brightwell would be a really good roster addition if something were to happen to Barkley. So keep an eye on him at least, even if you don't spend anything. If your benches aren't very deep, just keep a tab on him just in case something happens to Barkley. Wide receivers, we have Khalil Shakir. He's 7% owned. This past week, he had 5 targets. He caught 3 for 75 and a touchdown. He had a pretty good week. This is a really good offense. This game was a blowout, so he got more opportunities. Jamison Crowder is out for a while, so he got more opportunities because of that. If something were to happen to Gabe Davis or Isaiah McKenzie gets hurt again, Khalil Shakir is a guy you're going to want to own because of this offense. So if you want to go spend a little bit, grab him now, 3 to 5% maybe. Hold him at the bottom of your roster just in case. Just like you handcuff a running back, handcuff those wide receivers for the Buffalo Bills. Nico Collins, I think now is the time to go get Nico Collins. He's 23% owned. He's getting about 6 targets a game, about 10 points a game so far. He's got an easy schedule coming up. He's starting to be used more in the offense. He's getting some separation. He's not going against top corners. So I think you can go get Nico Collins right now. I'd go spend about 5% or so on him, get him on your roster. And Houston's going to have some up and down games, but Nico's going to get used. So go get him now. Rondell Moore, 38% owned. He's getting 8 targets a game since he's back. He had 7 points and then 13 points. So points are increasing, production's increasing. He's finally starting 80% plus of the snaps. He wasn't doing that before or last year. So look for Rondell Moore to increase his production. He's going to be playing third fiddle when DeAndre Hopkins comes back. But I think Rondell Moore is going to keep a role in this offense. He's going to play that Christian Kirk role from last year. I think he can still score flex points for you week to week. Alec Pierce, that offense is struggling in Indianapolis. We have Michael Pittman, who can't get the separation downfield because they don't have time. He doesn't have the speed. So Alec Pierce is coming and playing what Paris Campbell was supposed to be. Paris Campbell never really panned out, but Alex Pierce is getting separation. He's getting some targets. He's 20% owned. He's playing 60% of the snaps now. It's gone up each week. This past week, he had 8 catches on 9 targets for 16 points. I'm okay with that. Matt Ryan's going to have to look for more options, and it looks like Alec Pierce is going to fill that role. So if you only want to spend a little bit, 2-3%, grab yourself a wide receiver you might be able to flex down the stretch. Go ahead and grab Alec Pierce. Our last receiver, he should be owned in all leagues, but just in case, go check your waiver wire. George Pickens, 70% owned, which means he's on some waiver wires out there. He's gotten 8 targets, 7 targets in the past 3 games. Look for him to get a better rapport with Pickett. So this guy's going to be a star. If he's available, go spend your money on him. 30%, 35% I'm willing to spend. I think he's going to be at least the number 2 in this offense. So go get George Pickens if he's available. Tight end, we have Cade Otton. Cade Otton is 4% owned. This past week, he had 6 of 7 targets, 13 points for the Buccaneers. Cameron Brate was hurt. They don't really have another tight end option over there with Gronkowski gone. You can call me a fool, but I would never be surprised if Gronkowski came back. But Cade Otton was a really good college tight end, had an incredible dominator rating. I expect him to turn into something eventually, whether or not that's this year or not. Don't know, but I'm willing to take that chance because with Tom Brady in that offense, if you're getting this many targets, 7 targets, you should be able to produce. There's no telling what's going on with Julio Jones. Godwin has some injuries that may irk him throughout the season. So look for Cade Otton to be a decent tight end from week to week. I think some weeks are going to be boom, some are going to be bust. But I'm willing to take that risk at the bottom of my roster to find out if he's going to be one of Tom Brady's top targets. Taysom Hill, he was a drop for me for several weeks, 23% owned. This past week, he had a crazy game, 4 touchdowns. He scored about 34 points. Insane production. That's not going to happen almost ever. But, which is insane production. That's not going to happen almost ever. But sometimes at tight end, you're struggling. Maybe you have a week where you're down 20 points or so, and you need the wing and a prayer. Throw in Taysom Hill. It could work out, but the main thing for me is if it does work out again, you can sell him. So go ahead and get Taysom Hill. I'm willing to spend a little bit, but chances are your league mates are going to spend a lot more on him. Our last tight end is Will Dissly. He's 18% owned. 3 of 5 games, he has a touchdown. He's playing over 60% of snaps. Geno Smith is on a roll. They have wide receivers that draw a lot of attention, so it leaves Dissly open. If you're struggling in a 14-team league, 16-team league, 12-team maybe, if you're really struggling, I think you can take a risk on Dissly, take a chance on the touchdown. He's got a history where when he starts, he's really good in the red zone. So go ahead and get Dissly if you're really struggling at tight end, and you won't have to spend much money. So that's it, guys. That's it for the Week 6 injuries, stop, drop, and roll, and waivers. Tune in to the next episode where we're going to cover buy low, sell high. We're going to bring on Portman from the Dynasty Rewind channel. Tune in for that. We're going to do a 2-parter. Second part's going to be sits and starts. So if you have any questions, hit me up at laughingmanfb@gmail.com. Any questions on waivers, sits and starts, anything like that, let us know in the comments. If you want to let us know how to better the show, hit us up down there. So until next time, guys, good luck.